When we talk about optimum quality pasture, we're also talking about the right pre-grazing level and obviously the right post-grazing residual. When we talk about the right pre-grazing level, we're talking about pasture that's leafy, there's not a lot of stalk in it, there's not a lot of seed head in it, it's highly digestible and extremely easy to pull off for cows to be able to graze. This is highly digestible pasture that's coming up and that cows will be able to graze easily. Certainly when we look at a pre-grazing level, we're looking for this leafy pasture to be consumed evenly down to what we call our post-grazing residual. When we talk about post-grazing residuals, we're talking about the amount of pasture that we want to leave behind, which is the future growth for the next rotation, for the next harvest, for the next grazing. And certainly that post-grazing residual doesn't want to be too low. We need some grass, we need some leaf available for photosynthesis. So through sunlight and through warmth, the pasture is able to grow at the rate that our feed budget says it is, or says it should. So certainly when we're looking at a post-grazing residual, we don't want it too short, because if we overgraze our pastures, we're going to find those fields are going to come back, or those paddocks are going to come back probably later than we anticipated, which could put our feed budget, could put our pasture wedge, and it could put our grazing plan completely out of kilter. So it's extremely important for those post-grazing residuals to be as good as you possibly can. And when we talk about a quantity, pounds of dry matter per acre when we're talking about post-grazing residuals, when we're talking about cool season perennials like tall fescue and ryegrass and clover, we're probably talking about a pre-grazing level of around about 2,600 to 3,000 pounds of dry matter per acre. That equates to about 6 to 8 inches. When we look at our post-grazing residual, we're looking to leave behind about somewhere between 1,600 and 1,800 pounds of dry matter to the acre. So if you take the total pasture mass at 3,000 and we're leaving behind 1,600, then that basically tells us that we have 1,400 pounds of dry matter for our cows to use in that particular grazing. Utilization, that's what it's all about. If we get into a situation where we're consistently grazing fields that are above the optimum pre-grazing level, cows will then start leaving pasture behind. There will actually be more pasture there than they can really handle. And certainly they're going to be very, very picky. When we look at that post-grazing, then when we arrive at the post-grazing residual, the residual will be too high, and we'll start to get plant death, we'll start to get plant degeneration in the bottom, and basically what will happen is that cows are not going to graze below that level. If you do make your cows graze below that level, you're going to lose a significant amount of milk production doing it. So we need to be very, very careful that we're not overstepping the mark too high. If you get to, say you're getting to 3,200 and you actually say you need that field for rotation so that you can give other paddocks a spell to come back, then you may want to use an electric fence. You may want to strip graze the field to making sure that you're getting the best optimum usage of that field.